Good morning and welcome to Cheche, the show where opinion counts, live on Citizen TV. I'm your host, Udwa Kamimo. Now, there are big changes afoot in the mining industry. A new mining law, revoked licenses, and higher royalties. These changes are the work of the country's first Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Najib Balala. He says he wants to ensure that Kenyans get the most benefit out of the country's mineral deposits. Some facts to get us all on the same page. The current Mining Act goes back to 1940, and the mining sector accounts for just 1% of the country's GDP. So we'll find out whether Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala is getting it right on improving Kenya's mining fortunes. I also have with me in the studio opinionated panelist Mutegi Njau of Royal Media Services and political commentator David Makali. Good morning and welcome back to Cheche.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your appointment. The last time we saw you, you were a politician.
Yes.
So it's good to see you back in Cheche. Now, you want Kenyans to benefit from the mining sector. How are the changes you are effecting going to improve Kenya's fortunes?
First, we want to put a legal framework that creates a level playing field. It brings predictability in the sector and transparency. And then what is the benefit sharing? Not only the companies making profits or government collecting the royalties, but also how much is changing the lives of people on the ground. And that is what we want to do. So this is what we have done, and we believe that the sector can generate a lot of revenues and transform our economy and be able to streamline it and see the benefit out of it, because these minerals are exhaustive, and if we don't manage them well, then in 10, 20 years, we'll have no minerals and we'll have nothing to be proud of.
So we'll come to the specifics in a minute, but the changes you've effected just this week, suspension of licenses, increasing royalties, drilling fees, putting a cap on drilling and exploration, the mining industry says it was caught unawares. So there's a sense to which you seem to be leaving your stakeholders behind.
Well, a partnership of stakeholders and government is very crucial, and I've started immediately I became a minister. 7 days after I was appointed or sworn in, I called a stakeholders meeting. We discussed about the legal framework. We agreed on it. We moved it to the CIC and the National Land Commission, to the Attorney Generals, and now it's in Cabinet.
When you say you invited stakeholders, who are they?
Our key stakeholder is the advocacy group, which is the Kenya Chamber of Mines. So we invited them, some specialists, the Geological Society of Kenya, some academicians from Nairobi University and others in terms of the geological department. And we brought them together and said, here we have a new law. It's a high time. It has taken 20 years process of going through it. And whenever you want to reach to the conclusion, somebody pulls up the plug so that it doesn't happen. So it seems people have an interest that in the 1940 Act, which does not show any transparency or accountability or even royalties to the government, people are happy with that. And I'll give you an example, Woodwork, is the last review of royalties was done in 1999. A big company can export almost 20 billion Kenya shillings of minerals, and the government gets 0.001%. So if we are getting 0.001%, why extract it? And it's going to be exhaustive in the next couple of years.
The question that the Chamber of Mines is raising is the new rates, royalty share that you're proposing, has no international precedence. It's out of the blues. What you're proposing doesn't even happen outside Kenya. So what was the basis of your decisions?
We did a benchmarking. I've been advised. This is advised, it's not my own will. I was advised, we've seen the figures, we've seen what is happening. Yeah? And when you want to bring in royalty, you don't go and consult the guy you want to charge. How much do you think I'm going to charge you? You can't do that. Chamber of Mines is a lobby group for these big miners. So they will not side with the country and the government. They will side of how much they're going to be charged and protest against. I have a long letter from them last night to protest about all that. But let the Chamber of Mines know they have a role as a private sector, and let government do its job.
How much consultation did you do beyond Kenya, say, Tanzania and other African countries? Because, of course, the issues we're facing here are,
Global.
you know, yes, global. And so you have, for instance, the African Union and the Economic Commission for Africa also weighing in on this matter of unfair royalties, which you've just described. So was there any consultation within any of these other countries, institutions? I believe you've just become the chair of CIMIC.
CIMIC.
To what extent
let me explain. The first week I came as a member of the cabinet, I called the stakeholders locally. We consulted everything. A month later, I went to the East African and Central African Ministers' Council. And I learned a lot, and I visited Sudan, where they have the second largest gold refinery in Africa. And I met most of the ministers from the region, and we consulted. And we all agreed that we should have clear policies and legal framework to protect our resources. And it was the rotation for Kenya, and I was asked to chair, and I didn't have any problem, so I chaired that. Immediately after that, there was a conference in China where Chinese want to see how they can come to Africa. So I went to understand how they are thinking. I went to Hong Kong to attend the largest gemstones exhibition. I saw that. I went to London to attend the African mining conference. I met several...
An African mining conference in London. Okay.
Yes, yes. Why not in Africa?
Yeah.
So I went there. We met with the government of the UK, and we met with the EITI, the Executive Industry Transparency Initiative. We met with about 7 other African ministers in mining, and everybody is actually trying to transform their sector by doing the right legal framework and the right royalty, because we've been taken for a ride for a long time. And then I came to Kenya, and I went to Tanzania in the neighboring region. So I went to Tanzania, I had a meeting with the minister, I went to see, I saw their bill, or their new act of parliament, is almost similar to the one we are creating. And they have been considered to have the best. And the benchmark that was done for Kenya's bill is with Botswana, Tanzania, and Ghana. So we have taken the best practice. In terms of royalty, Tanzania might be slightly lower than us, but we are in the
4%.
same. The 4%, ours is 5%. 5%, yeah. So we're just on that average of everything. But also we look at our interest. Companies in Tanzania are now, in gold, are now moving into Kenya. They have extracted Tanzania, maybe got a better deal before. This new law of 4% has just come the other day. Yeah, they are coming to Kenya. The grounds are still virgin. And I said, why don't we take advantage? And it's only 1%. And then also I called experts, and I said, if I increase a 1 or 2% more than my neighbor, would I remove companies from? He says no. A royalty, in fact, maximum is 10%. So I haven't gone to the maximum. I've just gone to almost half.
Why can't you go to the maximum?
I will.
What will happen if you went to the maximum? They will stop coming.
Remember, we are just a new destination.
Yes.
So you don't want to chase away investors. You want to bring them when you're mature. Then you can bring those drastic changes. But I think it's a business decision.
But the royalties are not standard. I mean, they vary according to the mineral or the gemstone. So I see there is 15%, there is 1% on the
8%,
there's 5%.
What we have done is that
is the complaint by the Chamber of Commerce general, or is it specific to some minerals?
No, it's general. They wanted me to have consulted them, agreed with them before I do the announcement. The role of government should be the role of government. The role of the lobby group should be a role of the lobby group.
But isn't it a part of the requirement of the Constitution and this country's current governance that the people who are involved in a sector be consulted? You don't have to go by what they say, but adequate consultation. I mean, you say you call a stakeholders meeting at first, but it looks like after the first consultations, you ditched them and then went into this thorough analysis and came out with these figures.
No. That's not true. I think we did a consultation. They all agreed it's high time we review our royalties upwards. And we should actually make it as an average of what African countries charge. And if you look at the royalties I have done, it's actually on that range. Why did we just put niobium, rare earth to 10%? These are big deposits in Kenya, as we have been told, and they are really strategic for us, and they are strategic to the international community.
When do the changes take effect?
From 1st of August.
1st of August. which is this month. Not 18 months? There wasn't an 18-month window?
No, no. The 18 months was in the 35% rule that says you need to be compliant for 18 months.
Okay.
So if you have a change of shareholding or something like that, so you give the companies a chance to go and adjust themselves.
Okay. So when you say that we have, you know, these huge deposits which are strategic to the rest of the world, what is the revenue you're projecting that the mining sector will contribute to the economy?
First of all, Kenya has not, in the real sense, exported anything yet. So we don't know how much will be exported. We are just trying to analyze how much do we have. And the second priority after the legal framework putting it in place is to do an airborne survey to know what we have on the ground or in the, beneath the ground, so that we can be able to say, we have this amount of gold, we have this amount of uranium and others, and we say, how do we start sharing this with the private sector and get revenue? That's how we're going to analyze it.
Is this what lends itself to the Cadastre map?
No, Cadastre is a licensing software that if we give you a license, it goes to the Cadastre, and then when we want to give another license, you cannot give an overlapping license. So there is a clear way. Before is that you come, David, I'll give you a license. Mzee, you come, I give you a license. And we create conflicts between the two. Yeah. Now that system will not allow conflicts at all. So it reduces the issue of, and also the other thing is transparency.
Sorry, I'm not quite understanding how it reduces the conflicts.
Conflict is because if I put you in my computer, in my system, and I say license number 1 belongs to David and Mzee is license number 2, and it happened to be in the same coordinates, then the system will reject one.
Yeah. So just basically avoiding double allocation.
As we see within land.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I just wanted to ask you, I mean, this new royalties directive takes effect 1st of August, and it was issued almost on 1st of August. Yes. I mean, isn't there need for notice that, look, this rates come into effect 3 months down the line, say October, December or something? Fair justice really must be done to the practitioners.
The truth of the matter is when you give such levies, it's actually with effect with the date that you want to announce. Or you can even give a notice. But we thought about it, 19 years of no review at all, or 18 years of no review at all on royalties is serious. And including the big companies, oh, by the way, I didn't tell you, most of these big companies, I called them in my office. We had an issue. They knew something is going to happen. I called them. I shared with them, at least made them understand, don't you think you need to pay more? And they agreed. All of them agreed that, yes, please don't hurt us. And I can tell you, whatever we have announced will not hurt anybody. But generally, as a lobby group, we'll want to make noise, so to be seen by your members.
Najib, I think you overstate that. There is always value in notice. I mean, it's like somebody coming to your house and giving you a house rent increase on the spot. So, I mean, I'm just expecting that somebody's going to challenge this in court. We're going to end up with this protracted usual stuff because you did not follow due process, as has happened with ministers.
David, there's no due process. Due process is actually the government announces the royalties whenever it's due. And the due, you think, after 19 years, it should be 1st of August.
So essentially you're telling them, deal with it.
Well, not only in Kenya it happens, and when you read the budget on the 14th of June, it's with effect with midnight. Yeah, I was in the Ministry of Tourism. The British government imposed air passenger service tax. And they just told us, from this date, it will be £90 per person leaving the UK. We made a delegation of almost 10 ministers from long-haul destinations to meet their minister, and they told us, no way. Take it or leave it. We are broke in our economy. We want money. And that's...
Tell us about the licenses you cancelled.
Yes.
What is the saga about?
Well, there's no saga. What we are seeing is that from the day Parliament was dissolved, we believe that should be a caretaker government, and major decisions like allocating major resources like minerals to individuals without a proper government in place is not right. So we looked from the 14th, when the day Parliament was dissolved. So meeting was held in January. Some companies were allocated, and then also the day of election. we saw licenses being issued on the day of election. Election was done on the 4th of March. The final results were announced on the 9th of March, and between the two dates, a license is issued. We don't doubt the capacity of any company, or we don't want to say we don't want to give you, but why do it in a suspicious date? We are willing, and I want to make an announcement here, that the government is going to look at every license that was cancelled from the 14th to the 15th of May when I was sworn in. And also I want to say that from the 15th of May till today, the 7th of August, not a single license was issued. So those licenses, which are 43, are going to be checked with the task force, looked at it, evaluated, reviewed, and if you are a genuine business person, come to us, meet the committee, we will reinstate back your license.
Okay, excellent. We have to pause now. We'll take a break. This is Cheche, live on Citizen TV. Our focus today is Kenya's mining fortunes, and our guest is the Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Najib Balala. If you've got any questions or opinions for him, the SMS number is 22422, and the Twitter hashtag is Cheche_TV. We'll take a break now. When we return, how the proposed mining law benefits Kenyans.